Animated movies are a genre of film in which the image is primarily created either by hand or by computer. Techniques include stop motion, CGI, and illustration. I'm Smart Alec, and my guest today is the wonderful, the delightful, the effervescent Lady Victoria. Hello Victoria, how are you?
Hello, I'm fantastic.
I'm swelly!
I'm swell! It's sunny, it's Saturday, I'm swell.
Are you excited to be here today?
Yay!
Woo! Do you love animated films?
Yes.
I have to say, of all the genres, this is one of the most consistently high quality genres out there. I was able to write up a top 50 that any one of which could have easily been in my top 5, and I don't think anyone would have disagreed. There really are so many high quality animated films around. This is going to be a very personal list, I think. So, with that in mind, let's begin.
My number 5 is Corpse Bride! Woo!
Not Coraline?
So excited. Not Coraline, although, yeah.
Or Nightmare Before Christmas?
Not Nightmare Before Christmas. It's got that magical Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter combination, which is
magical.
It's super magical. It's a love story that's dysfunctional and odd, but very
It's so
sweet.
quirky.
So quirky. It is, and all the characters are drawn so sort of over the top, and the whole sort of blue grey tint that just runs in the whole film, and then the little songs, and it's just I can't remember how old I was when I watched it the first time, but it's not a film of my youth that shaped me. It's a cool film. I like it.
That's a good enough reason as any.
Yeah.
I think.
Just name Corpse Bride, I think, is pretty awesome. It sounds like a band. Hey guys, we're Corpse Bride. Gonna play you a couple songs.
1, 2, 3.
Dun, dun. Super depressing.
So my number 5 is Who Framed Roger Rabbit, released by the Touchstone Pictures arm of Disney Studios. This was never seen before, never seen since collaboration between Disney and Warner Brothers, and it was one of the first films to mix live action with animation, and it starred the late great Bob Hoskins, and it was full to the brim of cameos from lovable characters like Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny. You never see all these characters together, and you do see them together in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it's edgy and it's well written. Robert Zemeckis did a really good job, and this was released the year before I was born, so 1988, and I think it was ahead of its time, and you will never see a film made like this again, because the way these companies fight over every little scrap, you'll just never see them collaborate like this, and it's a shame because it was quite a magical film, and it's not without its blemishes, but I think that's completely overlookable because this film is funny and engaging, and it absolutely horrified me as a child. Christopher Lloyd, who plays the villain in this film, he's well known from the Back to the Future series as being this lovable, crazy professor. In this series, he is terrifying as Judge. Yeah, I mean, you have to see it, but it's quite gruesome for a kids' film, and if you haven't seen it, I don't blame you for not seeing it, because I don't think a lot of people have. It's one of those forgotten gems, and people should go and watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's my number 5. It's brilliant. Check it out.
My number 4 is Finding Nemo.
Minding Fimo!
I remember, I think, having a very clear memory of seeing this at the cinema, and just the visuals, and it's so well made. Like, you really feel like you are underwater, and all these fish, your friends, you can talk to them, and and all that, and it's such a cute little story. And I watched a documentary about sort of behind the scenes and how it was made and everything, and there's just so much that goes into it. Animated films in general that you don't think about when you watch them. Yeah, it's just, I think it's really cool how they manage to give these fish sort of a face and eyes and a personality, and it just seems completely legit. Like fish, they don't even have their eyes next to each other, they're on either side of their face, but it's like, okay, that's what they look like, that's cool. And yeah, again, you can watch it over and over. Kind of sad, so.
Especially the opening.
Yeah, heart-wrenching.
But that's good. I mean, these films are there to teach children things, and there's a couple of other films where we're going to come back to that idea. And I think this is one of those films where interlaced between all the fun is quite a heavy message that you have to learn when you grow up.
Lesson learned, just keep swimming.
Yeah. Are you going to watch Finding Dory when it comes out?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like Dory. She's kind of lovable.
I don't know if the character has legs. It was a pun.
Oh.
Yeah.
You might want to work on that.
I don't know if the character has legs as a lead. She was very fun as a sort of moderately two-dimensional sidekick character. But if anyone can flesh her out and make her the star, it's Pixar. Which brings me to my number 4, which I believe is actually higher on your list. So we'll talk about it together when the time comes. So let's move on to number 3.
My number 3 is a really cute and different film called Mary and Max. And I don't know how I came across this film. I know that I showed it to you.
Yeah, you were just like, let's watch this film called Mary and Max. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I'd seen it previously, but I don't know how or when or where. But it's
it's an Australian film.
It's an Australian film that it's only got two main characters, Mary and Max. And Mary is a very lonely, not girl, not yet a woman, overweight, depressed character who lives with her mother. And long story short, she starts exchanging letters with Max, who lives in New York.
Voiced by the late Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
Which, really nice performance.
The film is just about their friendship and how it develops, and it's cute, but it's not meant to be cute. Like
it's not a children's film.
It's not a children's film. It's quite grim, and just the description. I think there's a part where the narrator describes Mary, and he says that her eyes are the colour of mud, and her birthmark the colour of poo or something like that.
Wow.
And it's just very, very different from anything I'd seen before.
It's very dark humour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's clay animation as well, so it's very well crafted, and I definitely recommend it for a rainy day, maybe. Yeah.
It was a very well made film, very well made, and it stuck out in both of our memories, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both went in not expecting anything and came out thinking, My number 3 is definitely a children's film. It has the honour of being the very first film on our greatest film series to be on 2 lists, and that is 2008 WALL-E by Pixar Studios. Yeah, and I think WALL-E is a masterpiece of animation. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely wonderfully crafted. It's heartwarming, and it really brings out the humanity in robots and makes you love them. I saw this film as a young adult. I didn't see this as a child. And it really left an impression on me. On the surface, you have quite light subject matter, and it's quite playful, and it's very creatively made. But underneath, you have this subplot, this story of the human race and how we're pretty much extinct, and there's only one ship left, and there's no hope that they're going to be able to repopulate the Earth. When you really think about what lies beneath this film, it should be really depressing. But Pixar sprinkles their magic dust on this film, and they turn it into something majestic, something... It's almost like a dance in space, and this really is the sci-fi enthusiast's Pixar movie. Anyone who's a hoarder will get a kick out of this film, just the way Wall-E goes around and collects useless bits of junk and keeps them all hauled up. I'm looking at someone right now. It's also a celebration of humanity as well. Some of the things he has in his tray, it's a tin, really. It's a giant rubbish dispenser. But some of the things in there are just like really wonderful, intricate items. And I feel that is what Wall-E is. It's a wonderful, intricate item that you just want to treasure and take off the shelf every once in a while and admire. And yeah, it's brilliant.
My number 2 is Toy Story.
Toy Story! So this was my number 4. Also developed by Pixar Studios and released in 1995. This is the OG. The OG Pixar story.
It really is. I know that my family has this on VHS, and I have very clear and dear childhood memories of watching this on days when you were ill and you stayed home from school. Yeah, it's just so cute, and it's such a novel idea, really. And I think most kids have that thought.
Yeah.
When I go to sleep, what happens? Do my toys actually come alive? What if they, sit and talk to each other while I'm not awake? And
when you're a child, your toys are alive. That is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And very similar to the most recent Inside Out, they sort of play on this idea that I think every child has. It is really, really magical, really special. The writing is so witty.
I love how they all sort of stick together, and each toy has got its own personality, like Rex, and worrying about everything, which is strange because he's supposed to be a dinosaur, and he's sort of like really terrifying. And
Mr. Potato Head as well, who's sort of falling apart, and his limbs are just interchangeable, and that's hilarious. Like, you forget that they created all of these great characters in the first film. People talk about the great characters introduced in the later ones, but none of them are quite as good as the first lot. Like Buzz as the deluded space ranger, and then obviously Woody as well, the cowboy, with his little pull cord that makes him sort of stop being able to speak.
Reach for the sky.
There's a snake in my boot! Yeah. It's wonderful. It's so creative, and I think this was one of the first ones I saw at the cinema.
I'm going to Pizza Planet.
We're going to Pizza Planet.
And Sid, that guy. That was terrifying.
Sid was scary.
Yeah.
And I think that's something a lot of these have in common, the ones that we've picked anyway, that there is fear there. And a great director once said that a child can handle almost anything as long as it has a happy ending. And that was the great Hayao Miyazaki. His name's quite difficult to pronounce.
Hayao.
We'll get to him in a bit.
And then also the fear of being replaced as a toy. I know that when I was little, I was worried about my toys having feelings, and if one of them, slept in a certain place in my bed one night, then it had to change the next night, otherwise they'll feel, left out, or that someone was a favourite. And that's a real issue when you're a kid, and it's real for the characters as well.
It's so relatable. It's so creative. Yeah, it's just brilliant. Just brilliant. My number 2.
Do you get confused with the animals?
No.
No?
My number 2 is the one and only The Lion King. This is a Disney classic, and it was released in 1994. This film has a wonderful score, probably the best all-round Disney score of any film. It's definitely up there with Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. I love it. It's one of the few that's not about princesses, and it's not about cute, cuddly little Bambis. This is about lions, and this teaches children the most important lesson about life and death. And that is a really strong theme that this film introduces from the very beginning, from when Simba is born and shown to the world, to his pride. It's just brilliant. It has fantastic voice actors, from James L. Jones to Jeremy Irons to even Rowan Atkinson. It's a star-studded cast. It's beautifully animated. I've already touched on the songs, which are wonderful. It's funny, it's terrifying, it's exhilarating, and as a child, it just blows you away. And I love The Lion King. It's deservedly praised. It deservedly won multiple awards. It's brilliant, because as good as Pixar is, and has been for a long time, I'm still yet to see anything from them that really hits the magical heights of some of those real Disney classics. Now, I mean, if you were to, like, say, Pinocchio or Aladdin should replace this, I wouldn't disagree with you. But my personal pick would be The Lion King as Disney's sort of pinnacle, and I wish Disney would get back to that magical, illustrated technique that they had, because like the Renaissance era, as it was called, from 1988, 89, all the way until 1999, which ended with Tarzan, which was a bit meh. That period of films is great, and that makes up the majority of my generation's childhood. You got The Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Tarzan, Rescuers Down Under. You got all sorts of Hercules as well, which is another favourite of mine. Just, they were really, really on form, and none of the latest Disney films, I mean, they're trying to be Pixar now, and I have to say Frozen is one of the most overrated Disney films that I've ever seen. It has a couple of good songs, but it's too wrapped up in the politics of the time at the moment. It's okay, but it's no Lion King. If that's how you want to interpret it. It's no Lion King at all. And I just adore The Lion King. The Lion King is beautifully made.
So you didn't enjoy Frozen?
I enjoyed it, but given the fanfare it's received from everyone. But yeah, Lion King is my number 2. It's an absolute classic. Get it off the shelf and rewatch it. It's marvellous. Your number 1 greatest animated film of all time is
Big Hero 6.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. One of those new Disney animated films.
Yeah.
So you kind of disagree with what I just said then?
No. Simply because Baymax. I don't think I've seen a character that I've just wanted to have so badly. I mean, I'd love to have a little Simba, or a flounder floating around. But Baymax is just a whole nother level. And the film itself, it's got a few sad moments, which is sort of is a little bit unusual in these hilarious, super cute films.
Yeah.
which I think sort of shapes the film and it makes you appreciate Baymax much more. But it's so funny and it's very relatable. Like there's the meme going around like when you come home with your drunk friend and it's Baymax and he's running out of battery and he's just all over the place.
That's me some days, I think.
Or when you're just super tired and you're just like flopping around.
They really did make a wonderful character with Baymax. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I just imagine what it would be like to hug him, and I kind of just want to hug him.
Oh,
He's like a big warm marshmallow. What's
that's
not
cute.
to like?
A big marshmallow.
And I like that it's set in a sort of alternative San Francisco, and I like that there's a mix of different characters and they all have their own little quirks, and they all bring something to the film. And yeah, Baymax.
What film could possibly top The Lion King? I hear you ask.
What film could possibly top The Lion King?
Thank you. That took me a moment to get.
Wow.
That film is Princess Mononoke. Now, Princess Mononoke doesn't have any songs. It doesn't have any quirky, lovable sidekicks.
Yeah, it does.
Not in the same way. Not in a Disney kind of shove it in your face kind of, I have a lovable sidekick kind of way. This is a very, very fantastically well-drawn film. Every single frame of this film could be framed and should be framed. It's hand-drawn. It's beautiful. The plot is about this epic, sweeping story about humanity and nature colliding, and there's no real bad guys, there's no real good guys. They're all beings trying to live together and survive, and they're all understandable, even the antagonists. And the protagonist is Ashley Tucker, he is really cool. And then you have Princess Mononoke herself, who is a badass. You have the wolves, and you have the boars, and you have the apes. You have all these different factions, and they all have their own vested interests, and they all have their own personalities, their own voices, and it's about so many. It works on so many levels. It's about humanity progressing and evolving and developing new techniques. In this case, it's about them creating iron, using the resources from this area. And there's the forest spirit, and he's protecting this forest. And it turns into this. It starts small, but it ends in the most epic way. And it's about a really desperate fight to save the forest. And I am in no way a hippie. I don't have hippie sensibilities. But this film really made me think about nature and about what we are doing to our planet. It doesn't beat you over the head with it, it's just integral to the story. This is quite a violent film. There's blood, there's beheadings. I had never seen anything like it. As someone who grew up on Disney films, this was just different, and it doesn't bludgeon you with like really upbeat songs all the time. It gives you space to think and to ruminate and to really dwell on everything that's going on. But it doesn't slow down, it keeps going, and it really is an epic adventure action story. And no other film I've ever seen is anything like Princess Mononoke in scope or in subject matter or in style. It's just fantastic, and I place it above their other films like Spirited Away, for example, because I think the story is so powerful and so important. It's brilliant. It's my number one, and it's one of my favourite films of all time. Of all the world, of every film I've ever seen, it's right up there, and everyone that's important to me I've tried to show this film to because I feel like it needs to be seen. And it's such a trip, it really is. It has so many weird, wonderful things in it that aren't quirky. They're just strange, and It's brilliant. It's just brilliant. And I love it. So that's my number one, Princess Mononoke. Honourable mentions. So I also had listed for my shortlist Fantasia, which is wonderful.
Oh, Fantasia!
Yeah, Fantasia.
I had that recorded on VHS.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I mean, you can't
coolest
beat the
thing.
music for a start, and yeah, this is classic Disney right here. 1940, Fantasia came out. The Little Mermaid, which, whilst it's been criticised recently, needlessly,
What?
people criticise Ariel because she's, not this strong-willed female that everyone wants these days, but you have to remember that The Little Mermaid is the one that started this, series of songs that you see in every Disney film now, and it's the first one that had that quirky little side character. And the music as well. It's really, really fantastic. Chicken Run. I think it's the best art and animation film.
I like Chicken Run.
Chicken Run.
Although
is
it
hilarious.
scared me when I watched it the first time.
I love the references to The Great Escape and stuff in it. It's a really well made, really fun film.
Yeah, I like it.
Finding Nemo, also on my shortlist. It's really magical, and the star is hard hitting, but it's great. Then Hercules would be my last pick. I don't know if the animation, because they sort of moved on to that computer animation rather than the hand-drawn side of things, but I love the ancient Greek theme, and I really like the songs. They're a bit different from the norm for Disney. And yeah, Hercules was awesome. And have you got any honourable mentions?
I do. One honourable mention that could be in the top place. It's Pocahontas, and if we're talking about epic songs, I think Pocahontas has a few that are just
Colours of the Wind. I
Colours
think that's
of
the
the
only one I
Wind.
remember. But anyway,
Just Around the River Bend.
okay.
There we go. Rivers.
Yeah.
And again, it's got that vibe that Princess Mononoke has about
True.
people coming in and taking what's not theirs, it's own nature and all that. And again, the love story. And the little sidekicks,
And it's not as obvious and brash as Tarzan was.
Yeah, definitely. And when you were growing up, I just wanted to be Pocahontas because her hair was so on fleek and her eyebrows on fleek. Yeah, I just wanted to be in that forest because it's so beautifully made. And the Jungle Book.
The Jungle Book, yeah.
Also, Aristocats.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
It's nice.
There's just so many. I mean, if you had picked The Incredibles, or My Neighbor Totoro, or Shrek, or Mulan, or Jungle Book, or Akira, or Waltz with Bashir, that documentary, or Fox and the Hound, Sword in the Stone, Hercules,
Robin Hood.
Beauty and the Beast, Nightmare Before Christmas, Pinocchio, How to Train Your Dragon, Inside Out was really good, Spirited Away, The Iron Giant. The Iron Giant is a classic that no one talks about.
Despicable Me.
It's brilliant. Yes, there's so many of these wonderful films to choose from, and that's something to be grateful for, I think. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed our greatest animated list. I'd like to make a special shout out to our very first patron, Thomas. Thank you for your support. You, sir, are a bro, and I love you. If you want to show your support for the movie trailers, check the description below and click on the Patreon link, and you can read the details there. Lady Victoria, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I hope...
in your room.
And thanks for watching. I hope you've discovered something or agree with us. If you don't, tell us about it. I've been Smart Alec. Goodbye for now, and until next time.